Donald Glover is a comedian, writer, director, producer, and musician. But above all else, Donald Glover, aka Childish Gambino, is a storyteller. From his work on Community to Atlanta to This Is America, Glover's main motivation behind his work has always been telling his audience a story with real emotion behind it. I was first introduced to Gambino during the summer of 2012. While scrolling through a mixtape downloading site, I stumbled across his first studio album, Camp. Released on November 15, 2011, Camp was Gambino's major label debut under Glass Note Records. It received generally positive reviews from critics, Enemy calling it the hip hop album of the year. It was also the target of an infamous 1.6 Pitchfork review, which called it one of the most uniquely unlikable rap records of that year and most others. The entirety of the album takes place at a metaphorical summer camp, while dipping in and out of Gambino's life leading up to the release of the album. The first four songs follow a loose chronological order and tell the story of Gambino from childhood to success. Outside describes his childhood. He moved out of New York to Stone Mountain, Georgia as a kid. His family had a rough life. The song ends with an interaction with his cousin who has fallen into the trap of adhering to the racist stereotypes that the world has put on him. Firefly details his rise to fame and success. The song starts with his life during college, then transitions to his rise as a comedian and musician. During this period, Gambino is still primarily a comedian and shows his struggle to be accepted as a real rapper because he doesn't fit into the rap stereotypes that people are accustomed to. Bonfire sees Gambino expand on the braggadocious persona we've seen before as he has fun with the money and fame that his success has gotten him. He faces his detractors who didn't value his personality or his music by showing how far he has come. He has everything he could ever want here. All the Shine tells us how everything he valued in the last song isn't all that it was cracked up to be. He still has it all, but begins to question his place in the rap world. He asks himself if there's enough room for a guy who just wants to be himself and make whatever music he wants. These four songs serve as the introduction to the main theme of the album. Gambino feeling like he doesn't fit in anywhere because he doesn't conform to the stereotypes that the world has for him as a rapper and as a black man. They also serve to mediate between the two personas that Gambino takes on, the boastful rapper with money, fame, and success, and the black nerd who just wants to make the art he wants to make. The next two songs delve deeper into his personal life. Letter Home uses the violins from All the Shine to tell the story of an ex-girlfriend that Gambino still has feelings for. He tries to convince her to come back to him, but he's still unsure if that's what he actually wants. Heartbeat deals with the confusing emotions surrounding the casual relationships that he undertakes, whether it be with random girls or the ones that he actually cares for. He says he doesn't care about the girls, but he actually cares very deeply for them. The song ends with him asking the girl the status of their relationship. Are they dating? Are they just having sex? Or are they best friends? The next songs see Gambino combat the stereotypes that the world has thrust upon him while simultaneously telling his audience how to combat them themselves. Backpackers is a reference to the derogatory term for nerd rappers, which Gambino identifies himself with. The term was also used to call out fringe hip hop followers or suburbanites who are buying into a certain style without valuing it for its actual worth. He uses the term to call back onto himself as others see him, a suburbanite buying into the rap culture that he isn't a part of. The title also calls on how many of his listeners are suburbanites themselves. LES sees Gambino tear down hipster stereotypes to sleep with a girl from the Lower East Side in New York. He calls out the people who adhere to the stereotypes to portray an image that isn't true. He also deals with the perils of a relationship focused on thrill and excitement instead of love. Hold You Down deals in Gambino's experiences with racism throughout his life and not neatly falling into a stereotype. He looks at how white kids can often be whatever they want, while black kids are only thought of as one thing. He then looks into the black stereotype of others abandoning their children, ending the song by asking why people and culture at large are trying to hold black people down from achieving their dreams. Kids can be interpreted as a school age relationship that ruptures because Gambino has ventured outside of the life he used to lead, effectively leaving the girl behind, but continues to ask her to keep up with him because he still cares for her. You See Me is a frankly outdated and sexist fetishization of Asian women, which Gambino constantly references throughout the album. In Sunrise, Gambino celebrates his success with him reflecting on the topics brushed on in the first four songs, particularly the money, women, and success, and all the work he put in his music despite his detractors. The main theme of the album is growing up, escaping the childishness that comes from being a young adult. Looking back at a lot of the lyrics, they are immature, self-aggrandizing, and sexist, which are meant to parody and imitate the rappers that don't agree with the music that Gambino is making. The album's title is meant to have a double meaning. The first is to reference the content of his lyrics and Gambino himself. He's campy. His lyrics are exaggerated and theatrical for the purpose of being humorous. The second meaning is meant to emphasize how Gambino feels lost at that period in his life. Typically, the woods are a metaphor for being lost. The metaphorical camp that the album takes place in is surrounded by the woods, signaling to listeners about how Gambino feels lost throughout the album. We see this lostness explored through his lyrics of not fitting in, where he questions if he even has a place in the world. Now I want to talk about my favorite song on the album, That Power. The song is divided into two parts. The first part is a summary of the themes explored so far through the same braggadocious persona from before. The second part is a spoken word piece written by Derek Comedy alum and fellow rapper DC Pearson from the perspective of the album's main character, the boy. The story follows the boy confessing his love for a girl he met at the camp, who's unlike anyone he's met before. Regrettably, he uses the word destiny during his explanation. Afterwards, he falls asleep to avoid the awkwardness and to not spoil the moment. When he wakes up, the girl's gone, and now he's mostly alone on the bus. A girl who bullied him in elementary school reaches the row of the bus he's in and speaks one word to him: destiny. Afterwards, the boy's summer comes to a close, and the outro ends with him telling the listener what he learned from the experience. It isn't something that made him more cynical or manly, but it taught him something. It taught him to be open about everything with everybody because everybody will find out anyway in the end. This ideology means that people will be driven away because he can't keep their privacy, but it's something that he chose. The song ends with him telling the listener that he got on the bus a boy, and that he never got off the bus. The monologue is meant to evoke the feelings of realness we have felt throughout the album. He doesn't hold anything back. His emotions, his relationships, and his life are all fair game to make music about. It's made people distance themselves from him, but it's a life he has chosen to lead so he can be true to himself and true to his fans. This ties into Gambino's feelings on himself and not fitting in because he doesn't fit into the boxes that people prescribe him to be because of his individuality. Realizing that he needed to be open about everything and true to himself is what gave him the power to make the art that he wanted. Thanks for watching. Camp is actually one of my favorite rap albums of all time because I discovered it at such a young age, and the themes that Gambino was talking about really impacted my growth as a person. If you like the video, like, share it, subscribe, follow me on Instagram if you want to see dumb memes made by yours truly, and follow me on Twitter if you want to see everything that I like. As always, this video has been spam from my apartment.